We're here in the European Parliament today, and we have been attending an important roundtable meeting on the reform of the law and justice system in Romania. You kindly hosted the roundtable meeting in the Parliament, and one of the issues raised was that Romania takes up the presidency of the EU next January. Could you tell us what are the big challenges that Romania faces, and what are the changes that the government needs to make in order to prepare for this responsibility?
It's our first presidency after accession, and we are prepared. We are prepared to struggle for more democracy, including more democracy in our country. This debate today was about this because the declaration of Vice President of the Commission, Mr. Timmermans, who asked about the protocol, who considered this as a democratic deficit, and he asked for an inquiry. It's a first normal step in our relation, and we Romanian, we are pro-European citizen, one of the most pro-European country in Eastern Europe. But for us, it's really important to promote more democracy. It was a pleasure to cooperate with the Foundation for Better Governance, because democracy belongs to the better governance. It's a prerequisite of better governance. We need to explain to our population what's happened in Romania in this almost 14 years. We need to not only to analyze, we need to action, and I hope that the Romanian government, Romanian parliament start a clear action in order to promote more democracy in our day-by-day life.
Thank you, Ms. Nicolai. Mr. Dragomir, if I could turn to you. One of the big events in the Romanian presidency will, of course, be the next European Parliament elections. You're well known for your campaigning for the protection of human rights. What do you think the citizens will be looking for in Romania in the elections next May?
All politicians in all over Europe should listen to the real needs of the population and of the citizens, because what is uniting us inside of Europe today are the principles of freedom, of democracy, of rule of law. Now, because we discussed today regarding the situation in Romania, the secret protocol, the mass surveillance of the population, the abuses against the rule of law actually, and the corruption of the anti-corruption fight, I believe Romanians need to look not only at the principles that the European Union is showing in front of them, but to understand that they have a duty to respect those rules and regulations, as we mentioned today. When we talk about zero tolerance for corruption, we should also talk about zero tolerance for abuses and breach of the Constitution and breach of the laws and breach of the rule of law. Most politicians should look at the citizens and make sure that they will be first very well informed about the future of the European Union and what the principles really mean for us, democracy and rule of law. But also, secondly, I think the citizens should also feel that they are really a part of this entire orchestra of nations that need to share common values and common principles.
Mr. Clark, if I could turn to you. At the moment, while Romania is becoming more and more pro-European, it seems that the UK is moving further away. How do you perceive Romania's progress over these last few years, and what do you think lies ahead for this country?
I think Romania has a really big challenge that everybody's aware of, which is its need to deal with corruption. But it has to do that in a way that is consistent with European values and consistent with its treaty obligations under the European Union's human rights rules and more broadly under other international human rights instruments. It can't hope to defeat corruption using securitate methods that are more reminiscent of the communist era and which violate those fundamental rights. But that's not just a problem for Romania, it's not just a challenge for Romania, it's also a challenge for the European Union. Because up until now, the European Union has only seen one problem in Romania, corruption. when in fact Romania is dealing with two problems: corruption and a dysfunctional anti-corruption fight, which is not consistent with human rights observance. And these require really big internal adaptations in Romania, internal reform, and the EU needs to help them with that process and stop burying its head in the sand and pretending that it doesn't exist. What Romania has to try and do is reach a new consensus across the political spectrum about how to tackle corruption, to tackle it effectively and firmly, but to do so in a way that is clean and reflects the values on which Romania has been admitted to the European Union.
Thank you very much.